Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more details videos. Coco Gauff gets hooked on Justin Bieber's new album Swag as American relaxes after heartbreaking Wimbledon exit. It's a warm July evening in London. The air is still tinged with the soft scent of strawberries and the echo of cheers from center court. The grass is worn, the nets coiled, and the crowds dispersed. Wimbledon has come and gone for Coco Gauff, this time not in triumph, but in heartbreak. Just hours earlier, the young American tennis sensation had bowed out of the tournament in a grueling quarterfinal match that left both fans and commentators stunned. She had fought, hustled, and bled spirit into every shot. But sport, like life, doesn't always crown effort. Now, with her racket stowed away and the press obligations completed, Coco retreats to her hotel suite near Hyde Park. She isn't crying, not yet at least. The tears have their own rhythm, arriving when the adrenaline fades and the silence grows heavy. She plops onto the plush couch, scrolling absent-mindedly through Spotify when something catches her eye. New Justin Bieber album, Swag. Out now. She raises an eyebrow. Swag. Coco chuckles softly to herself. The name sounds like a throwback, almost too bold for 2025. But then again, this is Bieber, the global pop icon who went from teen sensation to a soulful crooner, and now, apparently, back to his swaggering roots. She taps play. The opening track, Swaggy Nights, begins with a pulsating beat, a mix of moody synths and silky vocals. There's something hypnotic about it. It doesn't shout for attention. It invites you in, smooth and confident. Gauff, still in her Nike hoodie and tennis shorts, closes her eyes and lets the music wash over her. The soundtrack of a comeback. For Coco Gauff, music has always been more than background noise. It's a lifeline. I grew up in a house where music was always playing, she once said in an interview. Old school hip-hop, gospel, R&B, even country sometimes. Music got me through training sessions, long flights, and tough losses. Tonight, though, this is different. The next track, Echoes in the Mirror, is raw, perhaps the most vulnerable Bieber has ever sounded. I see the kid I used to be / right before the world changed me, he sings. It strikes a chord. Coco remembers being 15 and stepping onto the grass courts of Wimbledon for the first time, dazzling the world by defeating Venus Williams. It felt like a dream then, but dreams come with shadows. With every win, expectations grew. Headlines followed her everywhere. The future of tennis. America's next Serena. No one tells you how heavy a crown can feel when it's handed to you before you're even old enough to drive. She rewinds the track and listens again. An album with depth and swagger. By the time she reaches track 5, Baseline Love, a clever metaphor-filled anthem blending tennis and heartbreak, Coco is smirking. Did Bieber just say, "You served me aces, but never love, baby"? It's cheesy, but it's catchy, and oddly relatable. It's not just the lyrics. The whole album feels tailored to people trying to find their footing after a fall. Bieber sings of rediscovering self-worth, of escaping the noise, of confronting fears head-on. No auto-tune apologies is stripped down and haunting. An open letter to critics, to lost friends, maybe even to himself. By now, Coco is lying back on the couch, phone forgotten on the coffee table, head bobbing slightly to the rhythm of skyline conversations. The chorus soars. The production feels almost cinematic. Where was this Bieber during my middle school years? She mutters, half laughing. She imagines younger Coco, braids flying, practicing serves in the Florida heat, belting out early Justin Bieber hits like Baby and Boyfriend into a hairbrush. Back then, his music was all she needed to feel joy. Now, it's helping her feel everything. Text from mom. A notification buzzes. A message from her mom. Proud of you no matter what. Red heart, don't forget to rest. And eat. Coco smiles. Her mom always knew when to check in. She types a quick reply. Thanks, Mom. Listening to Bieber's new album. It's helping. A few seconds later. Is he still making music? Faced with tears of joy. Apparently. And it's really good. Healing through harmony. In interviews, Bieber has said Swag, was his way of reconnecting with his inner 20-year-old, carefree, bold, slightly foolish, but also with a depth that only years of fame, failure, and faith could bring. It's not lost on Coco how much that mirrors her own path. She's only 21 now, but already she has experienced peaks and valleys that most athletes don't touch until their 30s. She's been called a prodigy, a disappointment, a champion, a work in progress, sometimes all in the same tournament. But tonight, none of that matters. She's not Coco Gauff, the tennis player. She's just a young woman listening to music that makes her feel seen. As Glow Mode, the final track, fades out with ambient strings and Bieber whispering, "Shine, even when they can't see it." Coco exhales. She feels lighter, not healed, not yet, but starting. The sun dipped low over London skyline, casting a golden melancholy across the city. Inside a cozy flat tucked away near Notting Hill, the clinking of a glass bottle echoed softly off the kitchen tile. Coco Gauff stood barefoot, orange juice in hand, hoodie loose around her shoulders, hair wrapped in a bun that suggested both exhaustion and defiance. She was, as she had tweeted earlier that morning, heartbroken but healing. Wimbledon was over for her. The center court, that once throbbed with applause under her name, had fallen silent. Her graceful exit in the semifinals had come with tears, hers, and perhaps thousands more from young fans who saw in her a rising sun. It wasn't just a loss. It was the feeling of coming so close you could taste it, only to watch it dissolve under pressure, unforced errors, and the ghost of what might have been. And yet, in the solitude of her temporary London home, something unexpected was bringing her back to life. "Play it again," she muttered to the speaker, sitting on the windowsill. Her voice cracked from days of press conferences and whispered pep talks. But the speaker obeyed. And there it was again, that slow, infectious beat, the whispered swagger, the surprisingly soulful lyricism, Justin Bieber's new album swag. If you had told Coco a week earlier that she'd be finding solace in a Bieber comeback record, she'd have laughed you off the court. She had nothing against him. She even had a few of his older tracks in her playlist. Confident. Was Loki a banger? She once confessed on a podcast. But this new album? It hit different. It dropped 2 nights after her exit from Wimbledon, at exactly 12:01 a.m. British Summer Time. Jet-lagged from emotional exhaustion and not yet ready to sleep, Coco had idly opened Spotify, more out of habit than curiosity. The purple album cover shimmered like a dream. Swag, it read in minimalist gold script. The first track, Comeback Season, started soft, with a lo-fi guitar riff and Bieber's voice more raw than she'd ever heard. "Trophies don't mean nothing, / if I can't look up and smile." That line alone had her sitting up straighter in bed. The second track, Backhanded Compliments, made her laugh. It was both a jab at critics and a wink at the industry. The metaphors about tennis, intentional or coincidental, felt personal. Love game, but they serving shade / I volley through it anyway. She smirked. Maybe Justin had watched her match. By the time she reached track 5, Midcourt Dreams, she was all in. The track opened with a sample of sneakers squeaking on hardwood, which morphed into a minimalist trap beat. It was hypnotic. And the lyrics, surprisingly introspective. It wasn't just about parties and clothes and swag. It was about rediscovering confidence after being doubted, about learning to walk into a room and not shrink. It was about rebirth. "Okay," Coco had said aloud to herself at 3:27 a.m., sitting cross-legged on the floor. "Maybe I'm a believer now." The irony wasn't lost on her. Here she was, America's tennis sweetheart, licking her wounds to the soundtrack of a Canadian pop icon reinventing himself for the 5th time. But healing has no roadmap. Sometimes, you don't find comfort in the expected. Sometimes, it finds you through unexpected rhythms. Over the next few days, swag became more than just background music. It became her emotional salve. Her mornings began with the bouncy Paris hoodie, a tongue-in-cheek ode to comfort, fashion, and self-worth. Her afternoons were marked by the Moody Curtain Call, where Bieber crooned about the loneliness of limelight. And when the evenings came, those quiet, dusky hours when the weight of missed opportunities lingered, she turned to the album's hidden gem, Sixth Set, a metaphor-heavy ballad about pushing past expectations. They said it's over in the fifth slash, but I'm still playing. Can't quit slash my story's still mid-script. Was it written about tennis? Maybe not. But to Coco, it felt like it had been written for her. Social media caught on quickly. On Instagram stories, Coco shared a snippet of mid-court dreams, tagging Bieber with a fire emoji. The Beliebers pounced with love. One tweet. Coco Gauff vibing to swag is everything I didn't know I needed. Racked up 500,000 likes. Even Bieber's team retweeted her, calling her an inspiration to anyone chasing greatness. By day 4 post-Wimbledon, Spotify reported a 120% spike in swag streams from the UK. Blame Coco, one fan quipped. She didn't mind. She loved that her followers were riding the same emotional wave. One young tennis player DM'd her. I lost in my local tournament, but swag plus Coco's posts made me want to train harder today. That meant more than any trophy. By the weekend, something had shifted. She was still mourning the Wimbledon that could have been, but she wasn't stuck there anymore. The album wasn't just helping her heal. It was sparking ideas. In a spiral notebook she always traveled with, she began sketching notes, notations for new routines, journaling affirmations inspired by the lyrics, and even brainstorming a playlist to train with once she returned stateside. Her team noticed the difference, too. "You're smiling again," her coach said during a video call. "I'm Bieber-fueled," she replied, grinning. The real turning point came a week later, during a charity event in central London. She was asked to join a junior clinic as a surprise guest. The kids were between 9 and 13, all dressed in white, clutching oversized rackets and dreams as big as her own. One young girl nervously asked, "Did it really hurt losing Wimbledon?" Coco kneeled next to her and nodded. "Yeah, it hurt a lot." "Then why are you happy now?" She hesitated, but then, like an echo, Justin's lyrics returned to her. "Because it's just one set in a long match," she said. "There's always another serve." Later that evening, while sipping tea and watching the London lights blink awake, she posted a short video to TikTok. It was just her, in her hotel room. No makeup, hoodie back on. Sixth set played in the background. She looked into the camera. "Loss hurts, but healing doesn't have to be silent. Sometimes you dance, sometimes you cry, and sometimes you just vibe to something that reminds you who you are." Shout out to Justin Bieber for dropping swag at the exact right time. You didn't know it, but you helped a girl get back up. The video went viral within hours. A week later, Coco was back in the States. Training resumed. The headlines shifted, but the lesson stayed. And the album? Still on repeat. Because healing, like greatness, rarely arrives with fanfare. Sometimes it sneaks in through a lyric, a beat, a feeling. And for Coco Gauff, in the wake of a Wimbledon that left her heartbroken, swag wasn't just an album. It was a reminder that even in loss, she could find rhythm again.